Hey, my loves, it's Tiffany, the Miracles Coach. Y'all, listen, OMG. If you are not familiar with or you have not gotten yourself tapped into this fire horse energy that just came in at the beginning of last week, and you know what? Let me start with this. Let me say this really quick because I know some of you might hear this or you might have been hearing it out, on the internet and things like that, and you may have immediately wanted to dismiss it. And I get that because I understand the hesitation around things that sound like astrology or new age or, whatever label you might want to put on it. But here's what I need you to understand, because just because you don't understand or believe in something doesn't mean it's not operating. Right? Just because you don't acknowledge a force doesn't mean it's not in motion. I talk about this all the time when I'm teaching about the law of attraction and the law of assumption, things like that. Just because you want to pretend something doesn't exist or you've been taught that it's not of God or that it's wrong or whatever, that first of all, that doesn't make that true, A. And B, it doesn't mean that it's still not playing out in your life, right? So I want you to think about it like this. You don't have to believe in the law of gravity for it to hold you to the ground. You don't have to understand the changing of seasons for winter and summer to come. You don't have to believe in the lunar cycle for tides to move. It just is, right? These are forces and energies and cycles at work in this world that God set into motion. And so this fire horse energy is really no different. It's a real shift. It's a real energy, and it's affecting everyone, whether you're aware of it, whether you acknowledge it, whether you understand it, whether you believe it or not. So for me, I choose to just be intentional, right? You can choose to be intentional about how you navigate this, or you can resist it and fight against it just because it's something you don't understand. But either way, the energy is moving. So the question is, are you going to align yourself with this energy and use it for your good? Like, be the author and the creator of your own reality and choose to make this energy flow in the way that you want it to flow, or make your life move in the way that you want it to move in connection to this energy? Or are you going to be like whatever with it and let it play out however it plays out? So listen, you do whatever you choose to do, whatever resonates with you. I just want to make you aware of what's happening energetically in this season so you can steward it well. Yeah? Because when I tell you, I have been looking for this energy. I've been super excited about it. I've been setting intentions for it. And oh my God, I don't even have words I can't even articulate this past week. I just don't even have the words yet. When I tell you my life has been completely turned upside down in the absolute best way, and I know that will sound crazy once I can share everything, but just know that God is not playing in 2026, okay? I literally just heard somebody say that this is going to be their best year ever. They were just saying 2026 is not the year that God is coming to play, right? And I won't say, I'm always very careful to say something like it's my best year ever. I always say it's my best year yet, right? Because I don't want this to be my best year ever. I want many, 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 many more to come. So I speak that. I mean, it could be my best year ever, but it also needs to be my best year ever yet. Yeah. So anyway, with this energy though, it is insane. And when it talks about acceleration, I was so excited for this year. Everything I've been seeing about this fire horse energy is talking about acceleration and how quickly things will move and things like that. And I remember when I came into 2026, I was sitting on a cruise ship in the middle of the Caribbean somewhere in the Atlantic Ocean. And I was just I don't really understand where this energy is. I don't remember what day it was, so I don't know exactly where we were on the cruise at that time, but I just remember having this conversation with God, and I actually recorded that day on the ship on a Miracles Unscripted episode. So if you have access to the private podcast, you'll be able to hear that episode. But I'm going to share a little bit about it here because I wanted to share this one, publicly. So after I got on the ship, a couple days after I got on the ship, I wasn't feeling all that well. And I don't know if I picked up something or if it was just some allergy stuff. And it didn't last but a day or two, but I just remember thinking this is whack. How am I sick right now when I am on this beautiful vacation? And I wasn't the only one starting to sniffle. And I think that's when it was just me, it was one thing. But once everybody in my family was kind of getting the sniffles and feeling bad and having a day or two where they were just kind of down and they couldn't really do anything. And I was like, what is going on? This sucks, right? right? And like I always tell you guys, these are just first world problems. So no big deal. It's just things that I'm sharing about my life. And so I was just thinking that day, like, where is this fire horse energy that was supposed to come in 2026? But I didn't understand that it wasn't coming in until February. Everything that I saw was just saying 2026 is the fire horse year. So I just assumed, I'm like, okay, well, here's 2026. Where's this fire horse energy, right? But it wasn't until February 17th, actually, that was supposed to come in, which was last Tuesday. And so I think it's connected to the New Year, a Chinese New Year, a Lunar New Year, or something like that. I can't remember which one it was or what it was, and it doesn't really matter because I grabbed a hold of that thing as soon as I heard it. And like when they were talking about, 2025, if it's been hard for you, it's because it's the year of the snake, the wood snake specifically, and there's a lot of shedding going on. And 2025 was not a bad year for me. It was actually a really great year for me, but I definitely could tell that there was a lot of shedding going on. That is definitely true for me. And if you went through some things where you were just kind of questioning everything, like, what is going on, God? What is happening here? And I know y'all know I've even shared a lot of those things on the channel so far that I've been through, and I've just been like, what is going on, right? And even though overall the year has been really amazing, extraordinary, and miraculous, it's just like pretty much every year I experience, I really don't have bad years. Probably not since like 2008 when I lost everything. But even during the pandemic and stuff like that, like none of that stuff hit me personally in a bad way. There were a lot of blessings that came out of those years for me, and I'm very grateful for all of that. But 2025 was definitely a year, I could tell, I shared one time that it was a very actiony year for me. Like it was a year of getting rid of the old, up leveling to the new, changing who you are and your identity and your self-concept and all of those things, letting go of so many things because I believe that we were in, major preparation for this year that was about to accelerate everything, right? And so there were so many things that I let go of and released, and a lot of things that I just changed about myself, my life, and all of that. And when January came in, I was just kind of like, well, where's this fire horse energy? Because this wood snake crap, I'm over, right? Like I've been doing all this stuff. I did all the shedding. I feel like I've shed everything I could shed. Like what else is there, God? And interestingly, there were more things. And the funny thing about it is that what happened is like, it was almost like if you hadn't done the work, like if you didn't do the shedding, if you had things that like little loose ends that you didn't tie up, January was the month where that stuff started to hit you. Like you could see it. You were like there were things happening set into motion for you. Like for me, there were a couple things that I had kind of just like, I was putting on the back burner in a sense. Like I was just kind of like, yeah, I know I need to deal with that because the things were coming up to me. Like, and that's the thing. I feel like God is always talking to us about things. We know what's going on. And I was just like, yeah, I just don't have the energy to deal with that. I just don't want to deal with that right now. I'm not having that conversation right now. I just don't want, right? And there were some things like I'm always surrendering to God. So I'm always giving it all to God overall. So I'm just not somebody who feels the need to like push and force all the time. So I'm just kind of like, I know that God knows that when he really needs me to do something, he'll get my attention, right? And so some people might look at that and think that's not a great way to handle life, but sometimes I choose to do it that way because I'd rather allow things to play out than to force. It's just in this surrendered life that I live, and being a surrendered being is just the way that I choose to live my life. So no matter what it is, and this time I really intentionally, like in 2025, one of the biggest things that I did was and I've done this a million times, obviously, because I've shared it a million times, but I really intentionally, I was very, very intentional about surrendering my business because it always feels like a tug of war, a push-pull. I always felt like, well, I'm surrendered and I'm going to do whatever you're telling me to do, God. But then in my logical mind, I'm always like, well, this is a part of business. This is something that I have to do. I have to do this. I have to do that. Like I had all these rules and all these things that I really thought that I had to do. And then one day I realized well, actually, you don't really have to do any of that stuff. Like, who says I have to post on social media to have a business? Like, yeah, I know that people do that. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I'm not saying I'll never do that again. It's not for me at this time right now. And so I just decided that who made these rules? Like, I don't have to follow these rules, even if it is a rule. Like, if it's a business rule, like people you can't grow your business, which I've heard people say. And I honestly do believe to some extent that is true. You got to be somewhere on the internet these days to actually really grow your businesses. But then again, who made that rule, right? And who said that? Even if somebody made that rule, those rules don't have to apply to me. I'm in this world, but I'm not of it. I'm exempt from that. I don't have to, those rules don't apply to me. I make my own rules. God and I create the rules. God and I decide the terms and conditions, right? That's always my go-to. That's always what I go back to. I literally pray that every day. Like, God and I make the rules. I've talked about this a lot in some of my audios and stuff like that. And so I just didn't always really know how to let go. and how to surrender my business. And so in 2025, God really started to show me how to really do this and set me up. Like I told you guys, like in one of the last audios, he just set the whole thing up. And my mentors and my business has absolutely transformed. So there's a part of me that doesn't even recognize myself or my business anymore. It's really just insane, especially compared to where I've been in the past few years, where I really just hated my business and just didn't want to do it anymore. And so my identity is up-leveled in a way that I have not seen in years. And the last time I can say that I've had an extreme up-level like this was probably 2014. And then of course in 2018 when I had the first surrender experience. Ever since 2020 though, things have been very just weird. Like I said, just not bad, but just this ain't it, right? This is not what I expect my life to be at this point. And like I said, not that it's bad, just because I have a very, very blessed life. And I'm always trying to be careful when I'm talking about stuff like this, because I don't want to offend God or make God feel like I'm not grateful for, the life that I have. I definitely never want to come off as ungrateful. My life is amazing. It's beautiful. It's miraculous. But sometimes I know that, you guys can probably relate where you look at certain parts of your life and you're just like, there's got to be more to life than this, especially with the business and stuff like that. Like this rat race crap that we got going on social media and stuff, there's got to be something better than this. You got to have a better plan in store for me than this, God, And so I was just like, show me something else. And I actually started to pray a prayer about showing me. And I just kept saying, show me this, show me that. And it's so funny because this started showing up in so many different places in my life. Like some of my mentors have been saying, show me. I started to see this everywhere. And I even saw Abraham Hicks video the other day on YouTube and it said, show me. And I was like, yeah, show me, God. And so actually in the Millions in Miracles experience that's now in the Miracles Realm membership, because now it's not an individual course anymore. You have to be in the membership to access it. But I shared my exact show me prayer that I have been praying since November in that experience, because I wanted you to see exactly how I pray and how I ask God to show me what I already know is meant for me. Show me what's already promised to me in his word. And then what I do is align myself with his promises with my words every day. So I speak those things by saying, show me this, God, show me that, show me what you're saying in the Bible, show me all these things that you're saying about me. I have a full prayer that I recorded and I listen to every day where I tell God, show me, right? And when I tell you, this is one of the most powerful things that you can do. And I started doing this, like I said, in November. And let me just tell you, ever since that day on the cruise where I was like, where's this energy? I'm ready for something different. Where's this new thing in this miracles era and all this stuff you've been promising me since 2023? When I got home off that cruise, it was a wrap, right? And the cruise was a little rough, all of us did kind of get sick, but we still made the best of it. We had great memories and all of that, so it wasn't a big deal. And even though it was, really annoying and frustrating at first because, like I said, we were on vacation and it was really our start to the year. We actually went on vacation on the 2nd of January, so it was the literal beginning of our year. And I really was hoping that it would start out differently, because who is like me where you feel like kind of how the year starts is how it's going to go. I try not to do that because I try not to, especially if it's negative, I try not to pull that negative energy into the year, but it is almost, especially even when you think about 2020 and stuff, it's almost foretelling in a sense sometimes when you see the year starting out like crap. It's just like, okay. And, I'm always hoping that it's going to get better, but you just never know. So I just was like, I don't want another year that starts out crazy and stuff like that. I'm really looking forward to a really awesome year this year. And I was just looking for that energy. Yeah. But literally, the day after we got home, and we got home pretty early that day because our flight was really early. So we were home by 1 p.m. And when we got home, I chilled for the rest of the day. And I was like, I'm just going to relax for the rest of this week, whatever. No, ma'am. That energy showed up, and on the 13th, and actually we got home on the 12th. So the 13th, that was actually the day that I got the Millions in Miracles download from God, and everything just took off from there. And honestly, I haven't really been able to keep up. And so that week, remember how I said that snake energy was still there because I was still shedding it. I didn't realize I still had stuff to share, but God had me cleaning up stuff and clearing out stuff. And that's why I ended up having to officially close my Facebook group. And like I told you guys, I had some decisions about things that were really difficult to make. I had to decide to grow up and step up and stop hiding. And then on top of that, that's when I really realized I have to make Miracles Unscripted public, at least some of them, right? So it was just crazy. And then all hell broke loose because for some reason, whatever I had going on the boat or whatever, it came back with a vengeance. And everybody was still kind of sniffly and stuff when we got home, but I was the only person who completely lost my voice. That's the crazy part. And I used to lose my voice all the time. So I've learned to combat it with Mucinex, and this ain't, advertisement or nothing like that. I'm just saying it really, really works in that aspect for me, because I know exactly what my throat feels like when I'm going to lose my voice. And when I take a Mucinex, it literally it obliterates it. So I never lose my voice anymore. I haven't lost my voice in years. It might get a little raspy and I might not have a full 100% talking voice, but I haven't lost my voice like completely where I could not talk at all in years. So that was crazy. And I was just like, this is some BS. Like, I am on fire right now. I have all of these things that I want to share. And God gave me all these downloads in like 3 days. And now I want to go execute it all. And I can't even record because I can't talk. And then after that, when I got better, I got some really tragic news. And here's the thing. It really wasn't somebody in my family. It was someone close to a family member of mine, but it was something that affected me deeply, and it triggered a really deep trauma that I already have. And so I was up and down really honestly for a few weeks with this thing and trying to move through it. And I won't say it took me out because it didn't, but it kind of felt like that for a little while. It was hard to get out of bed some days. I was just really struggling with it for some reason. And the beautiful thing about that is that it was something that I needed to deal with, right? So it brought it to the surface. And that's what I was saying. Like, before the fire horse energy came in, all of these things that I didn't even realize I needed to deal with were coming up to the surface. So even though that situation didn't affect me directly, it triggered me in a way that I was able to deal with it, and I was able to look at it, and I was able to talk about it and really allow God to help me move through it in a way that can help me not be as triggered by this anymore. And it's really changed a lot of things in my life. I don't want to get too deep into it, but I'll just share that part. Sometimes I'll share these things behind the scenes and things that I'm teaching because I can go deeper there, but I try not to get too deep here. And plus I try to keep these as short as possible. And I'm already, longer than I want to be. So anyway, I'll just leave that there. But God he just does things in a way, it makes me think, like, when people say, but God, because it's just like, he just came in and he was just like, okay, let's fix this. Let's fix this. He was just kind of doing this work on me that I didn't even know I needed. And so then another download came on February 10th. And this one literally changed my life. This one was just like, oh my God, are you serious? Like, me? Like, I can do this? I can have this kind of thing? Kind of like the millions thing, but the millions thing didn't shock me that much because that message has always been kind of in my psyche. It just wasn't something that I was always focused on because it never felt like a right now thing. It always felt like a, off in the future thing, like I believe most of us feel when it comes to like making millions and things like that. But this thing, I could tell that this was like something that God was saying, we're going to do this very soon. And so I was just like, okay. And then on the 17th, I had some more things come to light, and it was just like the wheels just got set into motion, and it was just like, okay, God, slow down, right? And he was like, yeah, you were looking for this fire horse energy? Well, here it is. This is what acceleration looks like. This is what it is. If you were questioning where it was, here you go. And now what are you going to do with that? And I was just like, okay, I'm ready. Let's go, right? And so I found something. God brought something into my field, like probably early January. Is actually something that I missed while I was on a cruise. But this lady was teaching about miracle walks. Her name is Shanda. And this has also changed my life because in the last week, she started doing the experience again. So I did it. And I also had gotten the replays from the first experience. And so I've been listening to them. And wow, one of the days she had a guest on there. He was talking about the drop zone. And he mentioned that he'd always done miracle walks. Like, he used to call them prayer walks. And he would just, go out and walk and talk to God and pray. And he said he now calls them miracle walks too, because when you name a thing, right? I'm paraphrasing what he said, but basically what he was saying was something along the lines of like, when you name something based on what you're wanting to create, like the result that it creates, the miracles, the outcome, the manifestation, you shift the entire thing. You shift the energy of it. And I love that so much because there's a huge difference between I'm praying for this, I'm asking God for this, I'm going on a walk to ask God for things. This is more like, I'm going to walk in these miracles. Like, I'm about to bring these miracles in through this walk. You get what I'm saying? And so one is focused on the process or the effort or the asking of it. And the other is focused on the receiving and the expectation and the knowing, right, that miracles are already yours. So it changes the whole game. And then, of course, miracle walks. I mean, that just caught my attention because, come on, everything I do is miracles. Like, I was just like, who is this person? What is she talking about? I want to know all about this. So I was super excited about it. And then on top of that, I'm also on a weight loss journey. As you guys know, I've told you I've lost almost 50 pounds and I'm still losing. So it's kind of like walking and added movement. I'm totally in, like, let's do it, right? And so I was so excited about this experience and I started listening to it and it's been amazing. So I've been talking about this constantly and I'm going to continue to be talking about it in Millions of Miracles now, and how to add movement to your prayer so that you can level up what you're doing, because this fire horse energy, when I tell y'all it's no joke, my week has been I still literally cannot put it into words. And I think it's just because, honestly, I really can't share the details yet. I just haven't been released to share them. And I might share them in maybe behind the scenes, like in the private podcast, but I haven't decided how I want to share it yet. And I just really believe that God is just holding it. And I haven't really been released to talk about it yet. It kind of reminds me of like Zechariah in the Bible when God sent the angel to him to tell him that Elizabeth was pregnant, and Zechariah doubted. And so God literally took his voice away until the baby was born to protect the miracle. He wasn't going to let Zechariah doubt and speak negativity into whatever he was doing. So even a lot of times with us, it's not even just about us speaking the negativity. It's about not letting other people speak negativity into your dream or into your vision too, right? Sometimes it's just better to keep it to yourself. And then I saw a post on Instagram the other night, and it specifically said, like, this is the time to keep things to yourself, not to overshare, which is totally hard for me because, I mean, I share my life for a living. It's what I do. But when God is being clear about something that I don't need to share, then I just try to listen to that. So I couldn't help but laugh, but I was just like, okay, God, I get it. I won't share it yet. But I also too remember when my husband and I signed the documents and stuff to build our house, we literally did this in July, and our house didn't close until December. It took almost 6 months for our house to be built, and we couldn't tell a soul and didn't tell a soul until we got the keys. And we didn't tell our moms, like nobody. The only people who knew were us and our kids, and we swore them to secrecy, and we're just like, don't go to school talking about it. Don't tell anybody. We didn't tell anybody. So sometimes I feel like God doesn't release you to talk about things yet. And I think that it wasn't that he didn't release us. I think it was just that my husband was kind of making a conscious choice not to talk about it. And he asked me not to talk about it. And so I felt like I had to honor that. And I think it had a lot to do with, losing the house before. So it was just kind of like, I don't really want to talk about this until we know for sure that the house is ours. When we get the keys in our hand, that's when we can start telling people. So I know that that was kind of his thing, but I still honored it because he asked me not to. So sometimes you just can't talk about things. And so I wasn't able to talk about that. And I feel like it's the same thing with this. Like, it's just not time to talk about it yet. And I can't share all the details yet anyway. So even if I tried to share it with you, it wouldn't really land in the way that I believe God wants it to land. The millionaire download that I got on the 13th of January, that ties into this very much. But I believe that I was meant to share that because I believe that that is something that God wanted me to share so that any woman who felt that call could come along with me on the journey if they wanted to do that. But maybe he's just protecting this part of it for a particular reason, and that's fine. But I promise, I know at some point I will be released to share this, and I cannot wait to share it with you. So all I came here to say was that if you are not tapped into this fire horse energy, because like I said, this is an accelerated energy, and I have pretty much heard all my mentors talk about like this massive acceleration, momentum, things like that. So if you haven't been seeing the things you want to see happening in your life, you want this energy moving you in the right direction. This is the season for that. Like, this year is going to be no joke. I believe that things are about to take off for so many of us. This is the era of millions and miracles. Don't get left out. I love that you're on YouTube. I love that you come to the channel. If you want to continue to be here and listen to the videos and the audios or whatever I post, I love that. Thank you so much for being here. That's absolutely fantastic. And I'm so excited that you're here. And please continue to do so if that resonates with you, right? But if you want to be connected to a mentor who is on a supernatural trajectory, and if you want to be connected to somebody who is walking their talk and teaching things that they actually do and embody, and not just, talking about some stuff that they learned on ChatGPT, come hang out with me in the Miracles Realm in the monthly membership, where we're going to be talking all about this energy. And like I said, about miracle frequency and millionaire frequency and all of those things. We're going to amplify this energy in your life. And I believe this fire horse energy is just going to take it to another level and accelerate it even more and add tons more momentum to it. And I believe that being connected to the right mentors, the right spaces, the right communities in this season is going to be so valuable to you, because all of us have something specific that we're asking God for. And your thing might not be millions. That's what God told me for this year. That might not be your message, but it doesn't mean that there isn't something amazing and miraculous in store for you. So if you want to be connected to community, mentorship, it doesn't have to be to me, but find somebody that you can get connected to more than just free content on YouTube or wherever else you're finding free content, right? Invest in yourself. Really go all in on yourself this year, because I promise you it will absolutely pay off and benefit you in so many ways. So I hope that this blessed you. I hope that you go and do what it is that you need to do for yourself this year so that you can see the miracles that you are excited to create this year. I love you guys so much. I will talk to you soon. Mwah. Lots of love and miracles.